Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to In This Moment podcast. I am Zumar Ali, your host for this episode. In this episode, meet our guest, Norhafsah Hamid, the author of the best-selling novel Letters to God, published by Iman Publication. She will guide you on how to respond to Allah's call when He knocks on the doors of our hearts. We hope this can be an opportunity for you to be in the moment, disconnect from the chaotic and confused world.
In this moment.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and a very good evening. Yes, I hope everyone is doing well, and Alhamdulillah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our Teacher Space session today. Today we have a very special guest, the author of Letters to God. Will You Stay? Divine Blessing. Those books have been inspiring and tells us a very, very relatable story. So, and this is her first time actually on Twitter Space. So, yes, Kaafsa, how are you feeling?
Alhamdulillah.
How are you feeling on Twitter?
Alhamdulillah, I am good. It's a bit new feeling, but Alhamdulillah, inshallah.
Yeah, you're on IG sometimes, and you give physical talks before, so this is like a new experience, and I really hope that you enjoy this kind of process, and probably if you like it, we can repeat it again sometime in future.
Inshallah. I haven't actually given any physical talk for a very, very long time because I've been hiding in my cave, trying to being a very, very, very introverted writer.
I think you're not alone. We have so many authors at least like to be in the cave because they feel safe in it.
Yes. It is our
And
sanctuary.
yeah, yes. I'm gladly to announce that we are joined by around 30 listeners right now. So hi everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our teacher space session today. We had a few teacher space sessions before. Just to remind you guys on mental health. So if you missed the session before, you probably want to listen to it, and they will be made available as podcast. And the title is Prasaan Apani on Spotify. You can check them out, and inshallah, this session as well will be made available as podcast in the future, inshallah. So, but today, the session with Kaafsah will be centered on hijrah. Tonight, inshallah, we'll be talking about how we respond to Allah's call when He knocks on the doors of our hearts. And we will listen to how will Kaapsah share with us her experience, her stories, on how she respond um, to Allah's call when He knocks the doors of her heart. But before that, I want to briefly introduce to you on Imam Plus. So probably, Kaafsah, this is your first time.
Yeah.
Probably hear about Iman Plus, and probably most of you guys as well. So if you're here, you may be familiar with Iman Publication, who is the publisher of our guest many books. Like I mentioned just now, it's Letters to God, Will You Stay, Divine Blessing, and others that you may know include books such as the Art of Letting God by Ustad Mizi and Light for the Lost Soul by Miss Nina. So Imam Plus is a little baby within Imam Publication, and we're basically a digital imprint, which means we make digital content such as this session that you're tuning into, and we produce online classes complementary to the books that we have in Iman. Our guest today, Kaafsah, also has an online course titled Hijrah, Seeking Contentment by Turning Back to Allah, which I really, really encourage you to check it out on imamplus.com tonight. So if you really want to know about what Kak Hafsah shared in the pre-recorded online class, you please go to imamplus.com and you can check Hijrah, Seeking Contentment by Turning Back to Allah. I really, really encourage you guys to check it out. Yes, Kausa, I
Yes.
think that's basically what Imam Plus is all
Mhm.
about. Yeah, before we go into the topic, I haven't managed to ask you about how are you doing. So you probably should start with that. What are you up to these days, Kausa?
Have Assalamualaikum. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Um, I have to tell you honestly, I have actually been writing. I've been locked away in my cave, trying to finish my manuscript. I've got one of the Iman editors on my back, chasing after chasing after the manuscript. Alhamdulillah is done. And
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah is done. It was a journey. There was ups and downs. And inshallah, I think it will be out next year, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, I've been quite busy with my charity organization, and also my kids, both with furs and without furs. So they've been keeping me busy.
All right. Yes, definitely.
So I've been at home. I think most of us, I've been at home most of the time.
Of course. Yeah, yes. And the book just now you mentioned, is it something to do with the sequel to the Letters to God series, or
No,
it
no,
is
no, no,
was it
no,
in
no, 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 no more sequels.
no
No
more
more sequels.
sequels?
I get scolded by readers because of it. They don't know. First, I think they find difficulty in finding out the sequel. Of what comes first, what comes next, and stuff like that. I'm always getting messages like, "Okay, what comes next after Letters to God? Which book do I have to read?" and stuff like that. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to write any more sequel. So the last book that was published, I think it was this year. Will You Stay? That's a standalone
Mhm.
book. Even though the character in that book is one of the characters or few of the characters, which I think readers would be familiar with in the whole Letters to God saga. But that book is a standalone, which means that you would not find any continuation from that story. It's just that the following books will be of familiar characters, but not a
Mhm.
sequel. It's a standalone story on its own. So you can read whichever book first. It doesn't matter.
Right. So, guys, there you go. That's a bit of teaser that Kahabza gave us just now. So, you probably want to know more about this book. You can go to and follow Imam Publication Instagram. I probably think that Imam Publication will release the information on Kahabza books soon when they are ready to be released, inshallah, next year. So,
Inshallah.
yes, thank you, Kausaf, for yeah. So I hope everything's doing good with your writing and with your life generally. And tonight we're gonna talk about you probably has like talked about this so many times, and also listen to your talks about your journey. So tonight is probably something new that we probably can learn and listen to when Kafsa share about her stories on when Allah knocks on the doors of her heart, inshallah. So Kafsa, to
Mm.
start off this conversation, I want to I kind of like notice you love to write reflections on your Instagram posts, And those who follow Kak Hafsa on her Instagram probably noticed this as well. Your posts are full of reflections. They were very good. They were very inspiring, and
Alhamdulillah.
not to mention relatable as well. It's very, very relatable. And more than often, I also stumbled upon your posts on your struggles. So you also share your struggles on your this social media,
Mm.
your struggle to be good person. And it just occurred to me that you probably have done so many things, so many good things in your life, but you still feel that you need to do better. You need to be a better person. It's not that you're a bad person, Kapsa, but you just want to be a good person. It's just that your heart longs for good deeds, and I really, really intrigued and want to know, if you have, you can share why does our heart long to do good, to be better than what we are already doing right now.
Um, you see, the thing is, when you are on a path, trying to get closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, there's a lot of things that you have to safeguard. Number one is you really have to safeguard your heart, because you have to understand that Satan will always try to come and disturb you on your journey. They try to taint you or try to whisper all kinds of things that make you feel a little bit discouraged, or it might even lead you a little bit astray from where you are supposed to be. So every day you have to safeguard your heart. Now, safeguard your heart from what? You know, some people think that, oh, once I've hijrah or I have changed, that's it. I'm good. I am saved. No. The thing is, the more you try to get closer to Allah, the more obstacles and hardship you will face. It's not going to get any easier. In fact, I think it gets a lot harder, because then, Satan will be working overtime to try to dissuade you from your intention and your goals. One of the most important thing is you keeping the heart humble, not just humble with fellow humans, also humble with God itself. Because the danger is, if you feel that you're a good person, and if you feel that you've done so many good deeds, then the tendency of us becoming complacent, or feeling that, oh, we are good, we've done enough, then we would not be striving. We would, we have a tendency to take a step back, relax. Or in other words, my children would use chillax, you know, and that's the danger there. So every day is a good thing. It's a good practice to reflect on what you do every day. Because one is, you don't know if you will have tomorrow. We might die in the street, in our sleep. I mean, or Allah might decide to take our soul just like that, with a heart attack. So the thing is, it's always good to live your life, with the notion and the thought that I might not live the next day, or I might not live the next second. So everything that you do is well thought out, and you will always think before you speak. You will think before you actually do anything. So this is the self-reflection that I always do, because I always have this fear that perhaps I'm not doing enough, number one, or perhaps there's something that I did wrong, and I have to actually try to rectify, as soon as I possibly can. But we can never we should never feel that we are good enough or we've done enough. Because at the end of the day, I don't think so. We can we can never do enough as far as repairing our relationship with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. That is why it's very important to reflect on everything that you do. Because only when you reflect, you will feel humbleness, the humility in your heart. Only then that you can actually see, okay, what is it that I may have done wrong that I didn't notice when I did it. Maybe it's because it's something that we said, or something that we do, or something that we wrote. That's life. It's human. Sometimes we tend to do something, absent-mindedly, and that thing that was not intentionally done it may have hurt somebody else's feelings. So by reflection is actually a good way for us to mm, it's a good way for us to improve ourselves. Yes. Yeah, inshallah. Improve ourselves. Mm.
Yep. Oh, wow, Kausa, thank you. That's very thoughtful, and I probably want to say it's also an act of living mindfully. That when you reflect back on what you're doing and look into the deeper meaning of whatever it means to our life, it's about how do we see ourselves as a person, as an also as a Muslim, and that's the thing that you shared on your social media
Mm.
as well. But
Mm.
Kausa, if you may share a little bit, Kausa, because you have been sharing a lot about hijrah, about your journey, and it's also an experience that you yourself experienced before this. You shared that you're not the person that you are right now. You were different back then. I just want to know how did you know that this is the time to change? This is the time for you to take the leap of faith to hijrah for the better. How did you get to that kind of reflection? It's hard. I mean,
Yes,
people nowadays
it's hard.
try to make hijrah, but they just don't get there. But Kausa, can you share a little bit on that? How did you know that it's time to change?
The thing is, one thing we must always remember that change do not happen overnight. So you can't expect to completely change overnight, and you to stay in that position till the day you die. It's not going to happen because as normal human being, we have our ups and downs. And even if you decide to change for the better, it's not going to be very straightforward. For me, the decision to change is one of the easiest things to do. Because we make decision every day. The intention, the decision, the niyat, the nawaitu, call it what you want. It's just when you decide to do something, that is the easiest thing to do. But the most difficult thing is one, taking the first step. Secondly, is to stay on that journey. That is difficult because you know it's not going to be a very smooth journey, where you are always protected. Inshallah, you are protected, but there's also going to be some disturbance. And also, it's not going to be like for me, it took many, many years. My journey took many, many years. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't have something traumatic that happened in my life that made me change, overnight suddenly. It was just a series of incidents that had actually happened to me that opened my eyes. And I started question as to my purpose in life. What was I doing? The thing is that when I was a lot younger and when my journey started, learning about Islam wasn't easy. Nowadays, everything is on the internet. You can do your own search. You can there are YouTube videos that you can listen. There are online classes like what Iman is doing, which is fantastic. I have to, kudos to you all. Wonderful thing that you guys are doing by sharing Islamic knowledge. But the thing is, when I was younger, we didn't have all those. And one of the ways to actually learn about Islam is when you actually go to a class or if you approach either ustazah or an ustad. And during that time, most of the books were in Bahasa. It was difficult to get English books on Islam. Very, very difficult. So when and I think at that time, Islam wasn't really as widespread as it is now. So my journey to finding Islam was very, very difficult. When I decided to relearn about Islam, and yes, I was born a Muslim, but I wasn't really practicing because I didn't know what Islam was. Truthfully, I didn't know. I didn't know what Hadith was. I knew of the Quran. I knew Quran was a book, but I didn't know the content of the Quran. What's inside. Was it a story? Was it containing law? Was it containing scoldings? Those are the things which I didn't know. So I had to go back to basic in learning to become a Muslim. But first and foremost, I wanted to know what a Muslim was about. Because unless you know what Islam and is Muslim about, you are actually clueless. You are a clueless Muslim because you don't know what is your purpose in life and you don't know what is your role as a Muslim. So that's what I did. I went back to the basic. I relearned about what is Islam, what is being Muslim, which means going back to our pillars of Iman and also our pillars of Islam. But all of this, um, it has to be it has to be done with sincerity. It goes back to the intention. It must be sincerely lillah ta'ala. You can't make a hijrah just because somebody tells you to. You can't make a hijrah just because you're following your friends. Or you can't make a hijrah because your husband tells you or your boyfriend tells you. Because I am telling you, if the intention is not right, it won't last. You'll find that you either be um, unmotivated halfway, or you will feel discouraged, or you just simply feel burnt out. You feel overwhelmed because you just can't follow. So when you decide that you want to change, whatever that happens in your life, like for me, there was a lot of uh, incidents of I would say trauma in life that made me stop and think like, why is this happening to me? It's, of course, the first thought that crossed my mind when it happened was, oh, mashallah, God, God doesn't love me. That's why He hates me. God hates me. That's why He's doing this to me. He's putting me in trouble, one trouble after the other, and after the other, and after the other. He simply hates me. That was the first thing that came to my mind. But the thing is, when I stopped doing that, when I actually went and reflect on why are these bad things happening to me, something is wrong somewhere. That's when I realized that my link with God was badly damaged. There wasn't even a link to start with. So that is when I knew, when I decided, okay, I got to do something about this. I got to repair the link, you know. And in order for me to repair the link, I got to learn and I got to find out how to do it. And it has to be done slowly, step by step by step. There were days when I would take one step forward and 10 steps back, you see. And I'm sure it happens to almost everybody. But this is the time that we don't get discouraged because one step forward is far better than no steps at all, or one step in the wrong direction. So this is it. You need to actually take it slow. It's not a marathon. It's there's no finish line. Just take it one step at a time, and you need to go at your own pace. So you need to know yourself very well. You need to know what you can do, where you can go, because the thing is, as human, you know, we have a tendency to actually give up sometimes, and certain changes won't stick with us. So when you start to introduce small changes in life, slowly, we can deceive ourselves in getting used to the small changes. And soon it will be a norm to us rather than trying very hard to make such a big change in your life that you find that you're not able to cope with it. And when you feel that you can't cope, you feel overwhelmed, you give up. You see, so that's something that you shouldn't do. Hmm.
Wow, Kafsa, that's definitely something that we tend to forget, especially when we live in this fast pacing. We long for quick results, but
Yeah.
we forgot when we are inspired by hijrah. We just become oblivious to the fact that it's not an overnight process.
No.
It it's definitely take years and years. It's probably when you even make the move to hijrah, you will be tested and you will be struggling with the process. So sometimes we unintentionally underestimate the journey, Kapsa.
Yeah.
For those who are just joining us, if you are interested to learn more about hijrah and whatever that Kak Hafsah shared on this space is just the surface, only the scratch of the surface. So if you want to go deeper and learn with Kavsa herself, there's an online course on imamplus.com titled hijrah, seeking contentment by turning back to him. You may get it with a 5 ringgit discount by using the code Norhafsah at checkout. It's definitely a beautiful course delivered by Kapsa. Kapsa shared her reflection, the definition of hijrah itself, and the enemies of making hijrah. That's the enemy of change. There's a one lesson called enemies of change. So if you want to know more about that, it's only priced at 30 ringgit, but you can get it with a discount of 5 ringgit by using the code Norhafsah. I also would like to share that if you have any questions, all listeners that on the teacher space right now, you may request to speak in 10 to 15 minutes time, and we will let you to speak with Kausa. You just have to press the microphone icon at the bottom left, and you can request to speak, and I'll allow you to speak to Kausa to ask her any question that you have in mind, probably about hijrah, your own hijrah or Kahasa hijrah, or you want to request for any advice for your own benefit. So please do so in 10 to 15 more minutes later, inshallah. Please request to ask questions to Kahasa. So Kahasa, you mentioned about burnt out just now, the spiritual burnt out, I guess. So we tend to question ourselves. It's like just like what you said, that we're on our journey. We tend to get discouraged. Often than not, we're ready in our heart to disown jahiliyyah, to disown the bad things that we did back then. But probably I think everyone will be relatable to this. When we want to disown the jahiliyyah, but our surroundings are somehow opposed to that act, opposed to our hijrah and our intention to be better. I really like to know if Kak Hafsah can share, how do you work with it? How do you manage with this? Taking one step at a time, but 10 steps back can be very, very hard and can be very counterproductive. But do you have something to say about this, Hafsah?
Yes, I mean, in changing your surrounding is very important. That's what in the hadith, our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, teaches us to find the correct friend, because our friends. Some people, they need to have people around them as support. Like but for introverts, we are okay being on our own because we are comfortable being, I mean, with our own time, and we are our own friend. But I do understand that some people, they need to have other people around them, for moral support, for words of encouragement. So it's always important to actually choose your friends well. Now the problem would be is when you start to change, but your friends don't change with you, and you find yourself alone in that journey. And it's not easy. Yes, I know it's not easy. I for example, like wearing the hijab. There's a lot of girls, they find it very difficult to don the hijab because perhaps they're the only one in the group that who wants to wear the hijab. None of their other friends wants to wear hijab. So, and if there's a lot of question like, oh, if I wear the hijab, what are the things that I can't do? Am I not to do? I can't do this. I can't do that. I couldn't. Now, this is also another mistake. When you learn about Islam, you must always remember Islam is not about don'ts. Islam is not about hellfire. And Islam is not about what you can't do. Always learn about the beauty of Islam. When I relearned about Islam, I was very lucky because, I had a teacher who actually taught me all the beautiful things about Islam, all the good things about Islam that, kind of like opened my heart and attracted me to Islam. Because otherwise, when I was trying to find my way back, of course, I had encountered with very hostile ustad and ustazah who, if I were to ask a question and they will ask me, oh, you want to murtad, is it? Why are you asking all this question? But the thing is, Yes, I got that. I really, really got it. So I was forever fighting and arguing with the ustad because I wanted answers. And they couldn't give me the answers that I wanted, or at least not in a way that I could understand. Because the first thing is they were very judgmental towards me because I wasn't wearing hijab. And also because they, to them, it's like, if you're a born Muslim, you must know how to recite the Quran. There's no excuse for that, you know. But the thing is, you have to understand not everybody is born into a pious family. Not everybody has a father who is an imam or the mother who is an ustazah or even sibling who is a hafiz. Some people are just born into a family which was not exposed to Islam. Yes, it says in the IC, agama Islam, but it doesn't mean that the person was exposed to the religion of Islam or even the practices of Islam or even the family in the first place even live a life of a Muslim. So the thing is, everybody's journey is different. You can't judge, and you cannot frown upon them. The fact that they want to change, they want to take their first step, towards Allah, that is in itself is a miracle. Alhamdulillah. So what we need to do is we have to help them, not scare them away. You know, I used to get, in my journey in trying to find Islam, I did get discouraged because even when I started asking questions, all this is ustaz and ustazah used to tell me, well, oh, benda ni haram, you will go to hell. And here I am, not knowing much about Islam. And the picture that was painted to me was like, oh, Allahu Akbar, is this Islam? It is so grim. It is so scary. Why is that I can't do a lot of things and I felt so restricted and suffocated? Yes, that's the word. Suffocated, which is wrong. But Alhamdulillah, I did my own reading, I did my own study, I made a lot of dua. I made a lot of dua for Allah to grant me, to give me a teacher that could actually guide me to Him, you know, and show me the path, that which is the best path to get to Him. And this teacher that I had, what he did was really, really, he showed me the beauty of Islam. And, by doing that, it created the love of, the love of Prophet, the love of, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the love for the religion itself, you know. So it's always better to attract people with beautiful things than hurtful words or to scare people away. So, but I I understand. I do understand that maybe perhaps they don't know how to explain it to me. So they get defensive. That I understand. But that's also very dangerous. But what I'm trying to say is you if you stumble upon an obstacle, which means that if you're faced with a teacher which is not very cheerful,
Very receptive.
very cheerful or very positive, don't give up. Don't give up. You make dua and find another teacher. you know, because I can tell you, Islam is not about doom and gloom. You know, and the principle is Islam is everything is allowed except those that is expressly forbidden or prohibited, and that's not much. I think you can count those that is expressly prohibited, but there's a lot of other things that we can do, and definitely Islam is not restricted at all. Really not restricted. I can do a lot of things, and the hijab or the niqab is have never been an hindrance for me, or an excuse for me not to do anything. So, but like I said, your surrounding must be correct. Must be correct. I know it's not easy. Some of you perhaps may lose friends along the way, but all I can say is I've been through that. I've lost friends along the way. I've lost many friends. But you know what happened is the beauty of it is Allah will always send you new friends, and He will send you friends who are on the same journey as you. It may not be immediate, but trust me, He will send you somebody or two bodies or even three bodies that will be your friend and who will be with your journey, and together you will be, you have support, inshallah. Mm.
Mhm. Thank you, Kausa. That reminds me really, really much about the book that you wrote. So I like to also promote your book, Afsa, Letters to
Mm.
God. For those who are just joining us, so tonight we talk with Kak Hafsah about when Allah knocks on the doors of our hearts. And Kak Hafsah also wrote a very, very inspiring book titled Letters to God, which has won various book awards. And the book is about a journey of a young girl named Sarah, and trying to find a way to balance her work life and spiritual longing um, while trying to adapt to her new surrounding. And I remember that uh, she lost friends along the way
Yeah,
because of this rumors, and that's the thing. So if you want to learn about this probably in a more fictional way, so you can get Kaafsa's book, Letters to God, and there's also about Rough Diamond and Dear God. So these books you can get with 20% off on imanshop.com until the end of this month. So please get Kak Hafsah's book. There's also non-fiction book by Kak Hafsah, Calling Me Softly, Back to Basic. Also, there's a less price discount for those books as well. So please go to imanshop.com to get all Kak Hafsah's book, the fiction and also the non-fiction. Thank you, Kapsa. That's very inspiring. When you mentioned about Islam, it's not about what you cannot do. It's not about haram this and haram that. But very often that we tend to focus on what we cannot do.
yeah,
The fact that we know Islam is not about that, but more than often we focus on that, which is very suffocating.
yeah,
We feel suffocated, and also when people impose that on us, we feel suffocated as well. Just like you said, and if you can reflect back, Kapsa, when the first time this thing pushed towards hijrah, and when hijrah embraced your heart, if you can reflect back, how was it for you when you experienced this?
okay.
How do you make peace with it? It's more like how do you make peace with it?
Okay, I was very, very naughty when I was younger. Okay, I that one I have to tell you. I mean, if you sit with my mother and father, they can tell you like 100 tales of my mischief and all the deeds that the trouble that I got into. But anyway, this is a story when my father was a diplomat. So when he got posted, he actually put me in a residential school, and it was last 8 months, if I'm not mistaken, it was the last 8 months of my Form 5. So I was actually transferred to a residential school to finish my Form 5 and to sit for my SPM. Now, at that time, I came from a co-ed school, a day co-ed school. So there was boys and girls, and from a like, and for us, it's like it was like pre-mixing. We didn't really think about the haram and the halal because I didn't really know at the time. So for me, boys are friends, just so that nothing. There was nothing sexual about it, but it was just everybody's friends, everybody, And but when I went to this school, when I was transferred to this residential school, things were different. The boys sit one side and the girls sit one side. And at that time, I wasn't wearing hijab. You know, and majority, I would say 99.9% of the girls there, with exception to the non-Muslim, they were in hijab. So I really, I stuck out like a sore thumb. There was this girl, who was a new transfer and who wasn't wearing hijab. And almost on a daily basis, the ustad and ustazah will be nagging me like, "When are you going to wear hijab? Do you know you will burn in hell if you don't wear hijab?" And it got to the stage I was so sick of it, because the thing is, I've always been my father. I've always, brought us up from small in believing in our own principles. I mean, he taught us a very firm, strong principle, and he also taught us to stand firm in what we believed in. And so for me, I don't do things halfway, and I only do things when I believe in them. And at that point of time, at the age of almost 17, I didn't see why I should wear hijab, because I couldn't understand the purpose of it. And I didn't want to wear just for the sake of wearing. and I didn't want to wear because the teacher told me, or I didn't want to wear because I wanted to blend in with everybody else. Because I decided at that age that if I was going to wear a hijab, I was going to wear it forever, which means I would not take it off. I wasn't going to be one of the girls who, like they call it biscuit small. Now you see it, now you don't. One part, 1 minute it's on, and then the moment you're out of the school, it's off. So I didn't want to be those type of people because for me it was like it's a hypocrite. This person is a hypocrite. And you don't toy around with hijab because anything to do with religion, I don't toy. I may be very naughty, but one thing that I know I don't toy about is religion. So whenever the ustad and ustada would tell me, oh, Hafsa, you're going to burn in hell. And I would answer them, so let me, it's my hell, And I got I don't know how many detention I got from that. But anyway, finally, I actually wore the hijab when I was 20 years old, and I made that decision on my own. Nobody told me. Nobody persuaded me. I made that decision on my own because I thought that okay, this is ready, and I'm just doing it for Allah Taala, you know. And I asked Him to give strength for me to stay firm, and stay fast in my decision. And it wasn't easy. Really, it wasn't easy because most of my friends were not wearing a hijab, and at that time, only those from Islamic school wore hijab. You see, so when I was a city girl, born and bred, city girls don't wear hijab, at that time. It wasn't fashionable. So I was actually going against the trend. It was difficult. But the thing is, you got to be firm, in what you believe in. So that's why you need to take the trouble to learn about Islam. Even like, to give you a good example, I see a lot of people wearing hijab, but that's about it. And when you ask them why they wear hijab, they say, oh, it's covering the aurat. But then you need to find out what is the meaning of aurat. Where is the aurat? Because there's no point covering your head when you're wearing a sleeveless shirt or you're wearing a three-quarter shirt or your leg is exposed. So that's not covering aurat. That is just covering your hair. So that's what I did. I went back to study. Okay, what is the meaning of aurat? Where is aurat? So because if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. You know, of course I got it wrong early on, but I was I was determined to get it right. So that's why we always have to take the trouble to learn about Islam, to take the trouble to learn about everything that we do, like why we pray. What is the purpose of praying? It's not just like, oh, it's communication between us and Allah. No, it's a lot deeper than that. But how do we know? Learn. Take the trouble to learn. And nowadays it's just so easy with the books and with the courses. It's just nak aja lah. You know, it's just I think that the more resources are available to us, the lazier that we become. We always tend to procrastinate things like, nanti lah, I will do this later, I will have time. And then next thing you know, you don't have time. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
When that time comes, then we're a bit too late. But I just want to remind you guys, it's not too late for you all to learn about this thing. So if you want to learn and get the guidelines on how to make hijrah, or perhaps you want to get inspiration from Kak Hafsah's story and experience, I would like to encourage you to purchase the online class that Kak Hafsah have with us, a pre-recorded online class titled Hijrah, Seeking Contentment by Turning Back to Him, which you can get on our platform, imanplus.com. The price is 38 ringgit, but you can use the voucher code Norhafsah, 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 to get 5 ringgit off of the original price. So you only need to pay 33 ringgit for a lifetime access pre-recorded online class with Norhafsah Hamid. So please check it out on imanplus.com. And once you signed up, just don't forget to add the course into your cart and insert the voucher code and make payment. So inshallah, you'll get a lot of benefit from the online class. I'm looking at the notes. We provide notes for you, so you can watch the online class, and also you can refer to the notes, which actually a very very convenient way to learn the online class. So there's also a collection of dua in the online class that Kak Hafsah shared with us on the online class. So please get the online class on imanplus.com. Thank you, Kapsa, for such a candid and honest sharing just now about your personal journey. So Kapsa, the next step in this journey, so you have gone through the struggle part. The first is the intention part, then the struggling part. And the next step in this journey is to actually being steadfast, to never tanggalkan tudung just now, to never go back to your old habit, just like you said just now. um um so many people may delay, but they can't really keep going. They just, I think steadfast is always the hardest part.
Yeah.
So how Kafsa, how did you stay istiqamah in your journey? I know there's ups and downs. Iman is always going up and always going down, but probably if you could share with us here, everyone, what was your source of strength whenever you feel down?
For me is Alhamdulillah. I always tell myself that nothing happens without His consent, which is Allah's consent, and everything good that happens is His mercy. So whenever I feel overwhelmed or I want to give up on on being on this because it's not easy. Really, it's not easy. It's when you go to a different level, then it's a different type of hardship. And it gets more and more difficult because the thing is the more you learn then the more you know what needs to be fixed, and for example, if you when you start learning about your prayers, you know you will learn about how the basic things, which is the rukun and the and the recitation, and you will pick up. Okay, this is what I've done wrong, and you try to correct it. Sometimes you go back to, making the same mistake, and other things, also other things, and you find that there's always something that you need to fix. It's an ongoing process, and especially with the heart. The purification of the heart is not a one-off thing, you have to do it every single day because there's always this feeling of begrudge. Sometimes there's a feeling of envy. Sometimes there's a feeling of jealousy. When you look at things, you look at people. It can't be helped. We are human. We have to admit to yourself that those are normal human feelings. There's no sin in those. You know, it's just that what do we do with these feelings? How do we deal with it? And that is it determines on the type of person that we are. But the thing is, sometimes when it gets very difficult for me, what I would do is I would just I would just take a breather. I would take a breather and I would just reflect. I won't go forward. I will just reflect. And stay still for a while until I gather my strength. Of course, every day you need to make dua. You need to make dua for Allah to grant you strength. And a lot of people, they underestimate the power of dua because they will just simply recite, oh, okay, this is the dua that's in the book that says that you recite after prayers, or this is the dua they say you recite when it's rain. Yes, those dua is very, very good. But for me personally, I don't recite those prescribed dua, that is in the book or whatever, because I want to ask what I need. What it's not what the general public needs, but what I need. And only I know what I really, really need. So dua is for you asking from Allah. Ya Allah, I need this. Can you help me with this, and this? So my dua is always very, very detailed, to the T. Every single thing I ask from Him, because this is what I need in order for me to, to go or to stay on His path. So if If you need strength, you gotta ask from Allah. If you need good friends, you gotta ask from Allah. If you want, your iman to be strengthened, again, you need to ask help from Allah, because at the end of the day, only He can help us, no one else. It's just Him, and only He decides what happens, and only He decides when to give to you. But of course, sometimes, when you make dua, it's not, your dua is not granted immediately. So that's where your patience has to come into play. Allah will always give what best for you when the time is right. This is something that we always have to remember, and this is the mantra that I will always tell myself. He will give when the time is right. Not He would not give when I just ask for it. Because sometimes the timing is all wrong, or maybe what I'm asking is not good for me. Because the thing is, every day when we pray, we recite Surah Al-Fatiha, and in that surah itself, it is a dua that we're asking Him to guide us to the straight path. Every time we pray, you know, we ask Him to guide us from the straight path. And being on that straight path, there will be decisions that need to be made that we may not like it. It may be a very unpopular decision with us, but that is the step that we need to take in order for us to be on the straight path. You see, so we have to trust His judgment. So, even in the Quran, it says that, not everything, we may not like something which is good for us, but He knows. He knows. So we have to trust Him. Again, we have to go back, make dua. Always make dua. For me, it's dua, 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 dua. Dua. Specifically, write down. If you have to write down, write it down. Exactly what you need. What do you need? You need, do you need a parking space? Ask. You need pious husband. Ask for it. You need a pious, you want pious children. Ask for it. You want a raise. Ask Him for it. You want a better career. Ask Him for it. You want good friends. Ask Him from Him. Ask from Him. Inshallah, He will give. In Surah 60:40, if I'm not mistaken. Allah says, "Ask and I shall give." So all we have to do is just ask.
Mhm.
Betul tak?
Yep.
Mm.
Thank you. That's very profound, I guess, and very touching as well. Thank you also for the reminder about the power of dua. People tend to forget about that just because they don't see the results immediately. It doesn't mean Allah don't listen to you. It's just that the consistency. Sometimes Allah will give you when the time is right. It's not when you need it, but when the time is right. Guys, the talk about tonight's talk is about when Allah knocks on the doors of our hearts. And today we have Sister Norhafsah Kaabsa. She shares about her experience and her stories and her reflections as well on her hijrah journey. So if you guys have any questions you want to ask to Kahapsa, please do so. You can click the button microphone at the bottom left to request to speak, and I'll give you the permission to ask the question to Kaafsa directly. If you want to ask anything about anything, you probably struggle with your hijrah journey, and you probably stuck at some point of your life. So please ask if you want to get inspiration and ideas on how to get out from it. Please request to ask question at the microphone below. Yes, Kaafsa, thank you for sharing that. And also, I like to remind that we have online course titled Hijrah, Seeking Contentment by Turning Back to Him by Kaafsa sendiri, and she shared very in depth about the hijrah journey. So please go to imanplus.com and you can get the online course at 33 ringgit by using discount code Norhafsah, Norhafsah, Norhafsah. And you can get 5 ringgit off from the original price. The price is 38 ringgit, but when you use the voucher code, you'll get 5 ringgit off of the original price. So please check it out on imanplus.com. Yes, Kak Afsah, thank you
Mm.
for sharing that. And you mentioned something about du'as, and actually we have one question, one someone from the audience. I probably want to give her first the time to ask
Okay.
question to Kafsa.
Okay.
Oh, she suddenly
Mm.
disappeared. Okay, Wawa. Hi, Wawa.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hello. Yes. Okay, boleh tanya dekat Kak Afsah.
All right. Hi. Assalamualaikum, everyone.
Salam.
My name is Najwa, but you just can call me Wawa.
That's all.
Um, yeah. So this is personally about my experience. So I thought I came across this session and I thought maybe this is one of the hint that I
Knocking.
can, probably hijrah or I don't
Mm.
know, get something from this talk.
Mm.
So I thought your thoughts and ideas was really inspiring, sis Hafsa.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
But then I've noticed that these days I've been struggling with maintaining or adopting self love. So it's sort of like I feel like I have been disconnected with myself. I feel like I am not um exercising self love or adapting self love. I feel like I am very hard on myself. I keep criticizing myself in terms of appearance.
Mm.
I feel like um once upon a time I used to wear a decent dress. I mean, like, I wear something that is Sharia compliance, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But then because I feel like I kind of want to make myself feel better. I feel like I want to look in the mirror and say, oh wow, you're actually okay. You're not an average, or you're not that ugly. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
if I will be honest.
Mm.
So then I change in my appearance. And when I say I change in my appearance, I mean, like, of course I wear hijab still, but then my hijab got shorter, and then I wear
Mm.
pants, but then my pants got tighter.
Mm.
It's something like that. So
Mm.
I feel like there must be a way in how I can change myself and I can love myself, but at the same time I am not going against Allah's compliance. So I feel
Mm.
like I struggle on the line on how the lines of how I can love myself and also be on track on religious or on Islam's track. So yeah, that's my worries these days. I feel like when you mention about you know finding a hidayah, stuff like that, everyone, you would say something like, oh, you can slowly change yourself to be better slowly. But I feel like this day I am getting further away and away from my religion, and it's just so upsetting because I know it's wrong. So
Mm.
I feel like I should seek help, but I don't know why. So I feel like you can actually suggest me something
Mm.
that would be great. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I completely understand where you're coming from. I mean, I struggled with the same thing. When after I wore hijab, and things that comes after that, sometimes you feel like, oh, this thing is not fashionable. Everybody is being fashionable, and the urge to shorten it or to become or to wear something tighter is there. It's normal. But don't be too hard on yourself. Really, don't be too hard on yourself. One thing that what I did was I was never a person who wanted to please others because I knew that there's no way I could please everybody. I would get frustrated and in turn. So when you dress to please others, you will get disappointed in whatever that you wear because one person may like it, but perhaps the rest doesn't. And that makes you feel depressed, down, and that makes you feel, oh God, I am so unfashionable, I am so ugly. We don't realize that this is are all comment from other people that slowly seep into our brain and it stays there. And it's a voice that's difficult to shake off. So what I used to do was whenever I want to wear something, the first thing that I would think is, okay, what would Allah think of me if I were to wear this? Because my purpose in life is supposed to be to please Him, not fellow human, not anyone else, Him. So if I were to wear this, would He be pleased with me? And more often than not, there's a lot of, clothes or hijab that I didn't wear because I felt that Allah would probably not be pleased with me. If He could talk to me directly, He will probably scold me. So that prevented me to actually not wear a lot of things, you know. In terms of lengthening your hijab, or loosen up your clothes, these are the things that we need to do it and practice it over time. It cannot be sudden change. We as human, we don't adapt very well to sudden changes. So when I started wearing hijab, my hijab was very short. And it took many years before I could lengthen my hijab to the waistline. It took many, many years. But it was progressing slowly, slowly but surely. Always remember progress, not perfection. Always progress. So you start slowly lengthening the hijab, you start slowly loosening the clothes, and in time you will start feeling comfortable. Now, in terms of self love, when you feel you can't love yourself, okay, this is where you need to go back and check your link with Allah. Now, when I say check your link with Allah, is basic. The very basic thing is our salat. You got to check your salat. Are we doing it correctly? Are we doing it diligently? And are we doing it on time? Because I have the same problem. If something goes wrong, the first thing I goes back, okay, I got to check my salat. Is my prayer intact? You know, and for somebody, who was started hijrah, even for normal people, even like me, is to keep our five times prayers a day is always a struggle because you feel distracted with this. You got your work, you got your family. It's always difficult to actually pray on time. Yes, it's a struggle. But trust me when I say, first thing you got to make sure is that you make sure you really jaga your lima kali solat sehari ni. This is something that you really, really fiercely have to jaga. That means you need to keep your appointment with Allah these 5 appointed times a day. You can be late, but try not to be very late. But whatever it is you do, make sure you really, really, really take care. And you perfected it if you can, but really jaga. And in time, you will find that there will be things about you that you like. Because the thing is, if he guides you, like for tonight, for example, tonight, this is all he's doing. He has actually guided you to this talk because he wanted you to actually listen to things. So if he loves you to guide you to the correct path or even to path which is a positive, that means he loves you. So if he loves you, then you must love you also. Because as human, we are one of the most beautiful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are even more beautiful than the jinn, actually. We got to refer that to the Quran. So if Allah thinks we are beautiful, then we should also think that we are beautiful. We may not be beautiful in other people's eyes, but it is enough to be beautiful in Allah's eyes. So that's something that we need to tell ourselves every day. Inshallah. Inshallah. Okay, Wawa?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kapsa. And I think that is really, really nice answer. um that's why I really like this kind of conversation. I mean, when we get the real situation, the real question from the real people, the real struggle from these people. So please, guys, listeners, if you want to ask any questions to Kaapsa, just like Wawa did just now, the struggle is real and you probably couldn't find the answer on your own, and you probably would like to get an advice from Kapsa. So please do so. You can still ask a question by clicking the microphone icon at the bottom left to ask question directly to Kapsa. And yep, I'll give you the chance to ask question. Yeah, we have one more question from Nurul Fasiha. I'll add her to be a speaker, but before that, I like to remind you guys that this content, if you want to go in depth to get more in depth about hijrah, the struggle, how you want to find a way to get out of it, you want to learn more about this, Kak Hafsah will guide you through the process via her pre-recorded class titled Hijrah, Seeking Contentment by Turning Back to Him, which you can get on our platform, imamplus.com. Just now I saw there are two people already bought the ticket. So please get, the price is 38 ringgit, but you can use the voucher code Norhafsah to get 5 ringgit off of the original price. So you only need to pay 33 ringgit for a lifetime access pre-recorded online class with Norhafsah Hamid. Check it out on imamplus.com. And once you signed up, don't forget to add the cost into your cart, insert voucher code, and make payment. Yes, okay. I like to give the spotlight to Nurul Fasiha. Are you still there, Nurul Fasiha?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please. Boleh tanya terus, Kak Afsah.
All right. I have a question.
Mhm.
Every day we are doing obligation for the sake of to seek the pleasure of Allah.
Mhm.
But once in a while, we'll feel like, okay, I do this certain obligation because I fear that He might punish me or something bad will happen to me.
Mm.
And another day, we'll think that I do these obligations or ibadah because I love Him.
Mm.
There is always a line between love and fear.
Yes.
So, can you answer that?
Um. Sorry.
That's
I'm sorry. I didn't understand the question. Sorry.
okay. So, when we are doing obligations or ibadah to
Mhm.
Allah, there is one day that we do that because we fear that something bad will happen to us.
Mm.
And one day we do this because we want um for we want to seek for His love and pleasure. So there is always a line between fear and love.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
can you explain on that? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Nurul Fasiha. Yes.
Okay. Fear is something good to have, actually. It does, because it would actually prevent us from committing sin. But the thing is, fear is also not good if it's in the extreme. Like, for example, if you work in a company, if you fear your boss, so you would not do things that make him angry. But you know, it doesn't mean that you like him, and it doesn't mean that you're loyal to him, and it doesn't mean that you will back him up. You know, if push comes to shove, it's just that you fear him, so you won't do things that he doesn't like. So our relationship with Allah is also like that. If we simply just fear him, then we won't do all the things that he says that we don't do. But it's kind of a loop-sided relationship, because like in any type of relationship, for example, even if you're in a marriage, for example, if you love a person, you will do things to please the other person. Similar dengan Allah. If we love Allah, then we will do things to please him, and we won't do things that would make him angry. That's the difference. The reason why we don't do that things is because we don't want him to be angry with us, because of our love to him. It's not because we don't do things, it's because we fear him, you know. That's the difference. So it's good to have the fear, but try to work it up to love, you know. So whatever you do, it will be sincerely lillah ta'ala. The reason why you leave certain bad things is because lillah ta'ala. You love him, and you don't want to incur his anger. You don't want to make him upset in a simpler form lah. I mean, like we can never upset Allah, but I'm just trying to put it in a simpler form. Like, if you love a person, you wouldn't do anything to hurt the feeling. You wouldn't make the person angry. You know, you wouldn't disappoint the person. And you would only do things that would please that person. You know, you would only do things that make the person happy, and you would only do things that make the person love you more. Because we know any relationship that is based solely on fear is not good. Neither is it going to work or neither will it will progress, because there will come a time where you will actually overcome that fear, and you will start sinning again, because you become sort of like numb, or tepu. Ya, orang Melayu kata tepu lah. That feeling ada tepu lah. There's nothing. I can just, kalau I buat dosa pun dah tak rasa apa dah. So that's the danger. So always, always stop yourself, or prevent yourself from doing something out of love instead of out of fear. So for me, that's the difference. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Thank you, Absa. That's very insightful, and hopefully Norhafsah will find it helpful for her to find. Yes, there's very thin line, Kak Absa, right?
Yeah.
The
Definitely.
between the fear to Allah and love to Allah. But actually, we probably need both. Probably,
Do.
we need to fear Allah in order to love Allah, or probably the other way around. It's like chicken and egg. Which one comes first? We never
Yeah,
know,
but
but
it cannot be
both are
100.
very
It cannot be
essential.
100% fear. It doesn't work that way. Because fear is good to have,
Mm-hmm.
but you gotta have love.
Yep.
Mm.
That's true,
Mm.
Kausa. Thank you for the reminder, Kausa. Yes, and thank you also to Wawa and Nurul Fasiha for the bravery to ask questions. It's probably hard to ask questions in front of so many people listening to this. Yes, yeah, thank you, Kausa, for the sharing tonight. Hopefully tonight's session will give lots of benefit to those who are listening right now. And inshallah, if you would like to listen to this teacher speaks again, we will release the podcast version of it probably next year, next month, next year. Yeah, just few more days,
Oh,
Kausa, to approach with, yes, 2022.
Allah Akbar.
And it will be exactly, Kausa. It's counting down right now.
Yeah.
In the podcast, yeah, the podcast series will be made available on our Spotify Iman Plus. So please follow our social media on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is imanplus.com to get latest information about our activities. And if you like this content, you like the topic about hijrah, and you want to learn more about it, please get the online course by Kak Hafsah with Imam Plus, titled Hijrah, Seeking Contentment by Turning Back to Him, which you can get on our platform, imanplus.com. The price is only 38 ringgit, but you can use the voucher code Norhafsah, Norhafsah, voucher code Norhafsah to get 5 ringgit off of the original price. So you only need to pay 33 ringgit for a lifetime access. Lifetime access. So you can watch whenever you want. You just only need to pay right now, but you can watch anytime, anytime. It's lifetime access. And this online course will be given by Kaafsa herself about her process and her experience and her journey on Hijrah. So please go to our website on imanplus.com to get her online course. And like I mentioned also just now, Kaafsa also wrote various books with Iman. It's a fictional book, so there's Letters to God, Dear God, Rough Diamond, Divine Blessing, and Will You Stay? And upcoming books next year. So please go to imanshop.com. I believe there 20% off on all fictional books of Kak Hafsah. So please go to imanshop.com to get her books on the less price, discounted price. And also, please follow Iman Publication Instagram. The handle is at Iman Publication to get latest information on Kak Hafsah's book for next year. Yep. Until next time, before we end, Kak Hafsah, I'd like to give you a moment for one last question, probably. So, Kak
Mm.
Hafsah, if there's anyone among the listeners, probably they were to get a knock on their hearts to make hijrah tonight or anytime, how would you advise them to respond to it? Just one last tips, Kafla. How would you advise them to respond to the knock on their heart?
Number one, never ignore. Never think that I will get a second chance, because you might not. The thing is, when Allah knocks on your door, answer it. Second step is take it slow. Take it step by step. There's no rush. There's no rush. And thirdly, always believe that he's always there to guide you. He has knocked on your door. He's not going to leave you hanging. He will guide you step by step. You just have to have faith, and make lots and lots of dua. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you, Kak Hafsah. That's very good ending. And till we meet again, Kak Hafsah, thank you so much for
very
spending
much.
your time
Thank you,
tonight.
everyone. I'm humbled to see that many people online.
Yes, you never knew many people follow you, Kak Hafsah, and they love your content.
That's the danger of being, cooped up in a cave.
Exactly. You don't know people follow you.
Yes.
Yes. So if you like Kak Hafsah, probably we can do it again next time, probably on the different topic.
Thank you very much, Zuma.
Yep, inshallah. Thank you, Kak Hafsah. And till we meet again for the next peace session or any live session, I'm Zumar Ali from Iman Plus. Would like to say thanks to Kak Hafsah for spending your time tonight, and also for those who are tuning in from the start until the end. We really, really appreciate that you spend your night to listen to this kind of content. If you like this kind of content, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is at imanplus.com. We're going to share a lot of good content that might benefit you in more than one aspect, inshallah. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum, and have a good Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
This episode of When Allah Knocks on the Doors of Our Hearts is a collaboration between Iman Plus and Norhafsah Hamid. Norhafsah Hamid, or more dearly referred to as Kak Hafsah among us at Iman, is the author of the best-selling Letter to God series, published by Iman Publication, and also the co-founder of a women's organization called Nadi An-Nisa. You can follow her at norhafsah.hamid on Instagram, where she writes her contemplation about faith and life. This episode is a part of In This Moment podcast series. This series is available on Iman Plus Spotify and Iman YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels if you don't want to miss our latest episodes. For more information on the podcast or any other products from Iman Plus, please check out our social media account at imanplus.com on Instagram and Twitter, and Iman Plus on Facebook. Subscribe to our newsletter and please check out our website imanplus.com today. Till next time, take care and stay safe.